Alright, so today we're going to look at the second half of this, so Chapter 9, Section 3. We're going to focus on our geometric sequences. So yesterday we learned in arithmetic, it's when we add to get to the next number. Geometric is when we're going to multiply. So the second part of the notes are geometric, we're multiplying to get to the next number of our sequence. So a geometric sequence has a common ratio, kind of like the common difference, but here just since we're multiplying, we call it a ratio. The formula for the nth term is this. Same thing as before. A is just our first term, and R is our common ratio. And to find R, we always divide the second term by the first term. And that'll give us what number we're multiplying to get to the next. Sometimes in a geometric sequence, it looks like we're dividing. So if our sequence said 8, 4, 2, 1, it looks like we're dividing by 2 to get to the next one, but you have to remember in geometric, it's always multiplying. So instead of dividing by 2, we would just say we are multiplying by 1/2. And that's the same thing. So just be careful with that. Sometimes it could look like we're dividing, but we're actually just multiplying by a fraction. So in exercise 5 through 12, tell whether the sequence is geometric. Explain your reasoning. So to see what we are multiplying to get from one term to the next, we always take our second term and divide it by the first. So 48 divided by 96, and that would give us 1/2. So we're multiplying by 1/2 here. We are also multiplying by 1/2 to get from 48 to 24. Multiplying by 1/2 again to get from 24 to 12, and multiplying by 1/2 again here. So since we are multiplying by 1/2 each time, this is in fact geometric. So yes, geometric. Let's look at number 7. So we are multiplying by 2 here. In 4 to 6, we're not multiplying by 2, because if we multiply 4 by 2, that would give us 8. So this is not geometric. Nope. Number 6. So we can always take our second term and divide it by the first one, 729. These are big numbers, so we'd have to probably use a calculator, but that would give us 1/3 when we simplify. So that means we are multiplying by 1/3. We're multiplying by 1/3 again here, multiplying by 1/3, and multiplying by 1/3. So this, yes, is geometric. And then last one, number 8. To get from 5 to 20, we have to multiply by 4. If we multiply 20 by 4, that would give us 80. So this is not. So no, not geometric. So geometric is when you multiply to get from one number to the next. So finding R, we just take the second term and divide it by the first. That works for anyone, so you could take the third term and divide it by the second if you just divide it by the term before it. So 6 divided by 3 would give us 2. So we're multiplying by 2 to get from 3 to 6. 12 divided by 6 would give us 2, so we're multiplying by 2 again here. 24 divided by 12 is 2, so we're multiplying by 2 again. And 48 divided by 24 is 2, so we're multiplying by 2 again. So that's just how we find R. Always take the second one and divide it by the one before. So if you just think second divided by first. And you can always check your work to make sure what you did is right, because we multiply by 2 to get from 6 to 12. Multiply by 2. Example 4, find the 10th term of the geometric sequence. So our formula for geometric sequence is a sub n is equal to a times r to the power of n minus 1, where a is our first term and r is our common ratio. So our first term here is just the first one written, that is 4. To find our common ratio, we take the second term, divide it by the one right before it, the first term. So 12 divided by 4 would simplify to 3. So our common ratio is 3. So a sub n is equal to our first term, which is 4. And we plug in 3 for r to the power of n minus 1. Now it asks us for the 10th term, so that means n is equal to 10. So a sub 10 is equal to 4 times 3 to the power of 10 minus 1. So 4 times 3 to the power of 9. Be careful with your order of operations because this exponent is just applying to the 3 there. It's just 3 to the power of 9. It's not 4 times 3 to the power of 9. Just 3. So 4 times 3 to the power of 9 is 19,683. So we just put that in our calculator and then multiply that times 4. So we get 78,732. So that is our 10th term. When you're dealing with geometric sequences, when you're multiplying to get from one number to the next, your 10th term or like any higher term, any big term, it's going to be a large number because 36 times 3, because that's our common ratio, just gets bigger and bigger. It gets big really quickly. So don't be scared if you get big numbers for your geometric sequence because they get big really quick. All right, last one, example 5. We have to find the 7th term of the geometric sequence. So our formula is a sub n is equal to a times r to the power of n minus 1. So a is our first term. R is our common ratio. So our first term is 1. To find our common ratio, we take the second term and divide it by the first one. So negative 3 divided by 1. Negative 3 divided by 1 is negative 3. So our common ratio is negative 3. So we plug everything in. A sub n is equal to 1 times negative 3 to the power of n minus 1. This is our general rule. We can find any term we want once we have this. It asks us for the 7th term, so that means n is equal to 7. So we got to plug 7 in for our n. So a sub 7, that just means our 7th term, is equal to 1 times negative 3 to the power of 7 minus 1. So our 7th term is 1 times negative 3 to the power of 6. So I'm going to put negative 3 to the power of 6 in my calculator. So I get a sub 7 is equal to 1 times 729. And 1 times 729 is just 729. So that is my 7th term of my sequence. Okay, so this is the second part of the notes. You guys are supposed to watch this video on Friday. Get the notes turned in by Monday. I'll give you all weekend to watch the video and fill out the notes and turn them in. So that'll be your homework for the weekend. And then the actual 9.2 through 9.3 handout is going to be due on Tuesday. So if you have any questions, you can ask me on Monday. We'll talk about it and go over anything that you guys still might not know, and then the homework will be due Tuesday. Just make sure you get the notes turned in by Monday. Have a good weekend, guys.